While schools like River Bluff High School use the Rydell Revolution Speed helmet, considered one of the best on the market and received a 5-star rating from the Virginia Tech study, our investigation discovered that some Midland schools are using 2-star and even 1-star helmets that are discontinued and banned from the NFL.
When you look at the acceleration data for comparative tests, the differences are dramatic.
Friday night football in the Midlands is a Southern tradition. As the athletes battle on the field, they are relying on their helmets to protect them.
It was probably the hardest I've ever been hit before.
Paul Cooper plays cornerback and safety for Richland Northeast High School and suffered a concussion during practice last season. His school uses the Rydell Revolution and Shutt DNA Pro helmets. Those are considered 4- and 3-star helmets. Cooper says if his helmet wasn't a good quality, his concussion could have been worse.
I got a real sharp pain in my neck and in the back of my head, and my whole head just started hurting real bad.
News 19 filed requests for the make and model of nearly 40 high school helmets in the Midlands. We found several schools were using 5- and 4-star helmets. We also discovered that Dutch Fork, Chapin, Blythewood, and Swansea high schools used the Shutt Air Advantage helmets this past fall. Those are rated as a 2-star according to the Virginia Tech Wake Forest study.
We took 10 years, millions of data points, brought it in the lab, and recreated test energy levels to simulate what the players see on the field.
News 19 notified the school districts. Mark Bounds, Chief Information Officer for Richland-Lexington District 5, says, out of an abundance of caution, District 5 will immediately pull the 28 Shutt Air Advantage helmets at Dutch Fork and the 11 helmets at Chapin High School. What was more shocking was what we found at Pillion High School. They had 31 helmets in their inventory that received a 1-star rating. The Rydell VSR-4, a helmet that Rydell discontinued sales of in May of 2011, and is banned from the NFL. Mary Beth Hill from Lexington, District 1.
At that particular school, it's a smaller school, so the squad's smaller, and so they're not often used, but we want to make sure they're not used, so we're going to work to get those replaced. The most important thing is, are our athletes every bit as safe as we can make them.
To create his ranking, Virginia Tech engineers performed 120 tests on each helmet. Dr. Dumas says helmets that had 5-star ratings absorbed twice as much as the 1-star helmets, which tested the worst.
There was no way for consumers to get any idea what helmet was better. It was purely what it looks like, what it costs, what the sales rep tells me. So we were the first group to actually present independent biomechanical data.
Concussions are much more serious than they used to be back in the day.
Tim Kinney has been an athletic trainer at Dreher Therapy for the last 8 years. He says a big problem that trainers face is that athletes won't tell them when something is going wrong, so they have to look for warning signs like if a player is walking off balance or unsteady.
Concussions can last days, weeks, and even months if they're not properly treated. If you even go back into class too early, the brain needs rest, just like any kind of injury. If you go back into class too early, you can have long-term symptoms, the dizziness, the headaches. They can last, or blurry vision. They can last a long time.
I would certainly say, we're big advocates for schools getting rid of their old bad helmets and getting newer, better helmets. And I haven't run across any expert that's ever disagreed with me on that point.
If you're a parent and you want to know what helmet your child wears, go to our website, WLTX.com, and click on the story. We have a full list of every helmet used by athletes in the Midlands. Stephen Dial, News 19, WLTX.